Hello, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Torah in 5 minutes or less. For Vince Hirsch Bandina, B'toch Shar Chole Yisrael. I thought that being that it's Erev Shabbat, we would deviate a little bit from what we've been talking about until now, but yet staying within the same mind frame, and talk a little bit about Parsha Kitavo. And Parsha Kitavo opens up with a story of one bringing his bikurim, his or her first fruits that they have grown in the land of Israel, and they come to Yerushalayim and they make this dramatic statement about their history and about how they were in Mitzrayim and God took them out and brought them to Eretz Yisrael, and therefore they personally have brought their bikurim, their first fruits, to Yerushalayim, and that individual statement is a very significant one. And then Torah goes on to discuss a few more things. And in the fifth Aliyah, the Torah brings us to the story of the blessings and the curse, the brachot and the klalot that were given on Har Grizim and Har Eival. And Rav Shimshon Rafael Hirsch here brings us back to a parish that he has on Har Grizim and Har Eival that he gave a little bit earlier in Sefer Dvarim in Parsha Rei. And what he mentions in this piece is that what we know about Har Grizim and Har Eival, so there were two mountains in the same area, in the Nachala, in the inheritance of Ephraim, and in the city of Shechem. And they were two mountains that were both next to each other. They were in such close proximity that you could hear the same thing from both mountains. That Moshe stood in one place and gave out the brachot, and the people, the Shvatim, standing on Har Grizim where the blessing was given. Would answer then, he turned to face the people standing on Har Eival, and who would answer for the curses. And he says, the question that he asks here is such a significant one. And he says, these are both mountains in the same place. But the difference between them is so significant. He says, we know that Har Grizim flourished and was green and was beautiful and produced such beauty, and Har Eival was desolate and barren and just dirt. He said, how is it possible that these two mountains that were exposed to the same weather, the same atmosphere, the same rain, the same lack of rain, the same air, produce such dramatically different results? It's not that one was up in the Golan and one was down in Elul, and you could say, okay, so they were exposed to two totally different climates, but they were exposed to the same thing, yet produced such dramatic differences. And what he answers and what he suggests is that he says as follows: He said, contrary to what we believe, a blessing and a curse is not dependent on something external only. It's dependent on our individual response, our individual reaction, and what we do with the external circumstances surrounding us. Obviously, there are certain things that are objective blessings and certain things that are objective not blessings. But with those challenges that come our way, it's not. He says we have the ability to turn aspects of them into blessings, because it's not just about what happens around us, but it's about how we respond to that which happens and to that which goes on. 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people can be exposed to the same circumstances, the same seminary, the same college, the same community, the same shul, the same rabbi, the same Chodesh Elul, the same Rosh Hashanah davening, the same Yom Kippur davening. But that's not going to be what makes or breaks them. Meaning, whether you go to this shul or that shul, or whether you're part of this community or that community, what's going to make you be someone who is blessed and someone who knows what to do with blessings and someone who knows how to respond to the challenges and both challenges and blessings is what you do with the external circumstances that you are presented with. What is your individual contribution? Are you going to turn it into a Har Grizim? Or are you going to turn it into a Har Eival? And I think if we bring it back to the story of the bikurim, that's part of maybe a connection to why a person has to make this individual statement. And the statement, and it's because it's not enough to do the same act as everyone else. It's not enough to do the same thing. You go, you pick your fruits, you bring them all to Yerushalayim. But what do you say? What is your kavanah when you are speaking? Meaning, we're all going to be singing the same songs in shul. We're all going to be saying the same things. But what is my individual kavanah when I am saying the text? And what am I thinking? And I think it's the same thing. We have to, bikurim is something that's not necessarily relevant to us today, but I think it is relevant to us, that concept in when we're in shul and we daven Shemon Esrei. In the Chazar of Shatz in shul, there's only one part where we get up and we say a whole tefillah instead of just amen, and that's modim, and that's the bracha of gratitude, where it's not enough just to say amen, but every person has to get up and say what's called modim d'Rabbanan and say their own modim and say their own recognition of a Hakar Satov, because you can't have a shaliach, can't have someone else perform Hakar Satov for you. It has to come from within you. So too, our entire relationship with Avodas Hashem. It's not enough just to perform the acts. And now there are actions that it's easy to respond to. Slichot, shofar, a minyan, fasting, this, that, building a sickle, all those things are external. And the question is, can we become a Har Grizim, and can we respond to them in a way that will bring us closer, bring us more forward, and make us more aware and worthy of receiving those as blessings. Mirz Hashem, we should be zocha to wonderful external circumstances, and we should be blessed by Kadosh Baruch Hu with only the greatest of opportunities, so that we can live a life of blessing. And when we're blessed with, or we're given different opportunities, we can have the ability to redirect them and turn them into blessings. And Mirz Hashem, we should all have a Shabbat Shalom.